What's going on, everybody? So I said I was going to do more of these NFL mock drafts now that getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. I think it's only like less than 2 weeks or around 2 weeks, something like that. A couple Thursdays from now. So definitely very excited. It's kind of like Christmas weekend for me. I don't know why. I just love the draft. Very compelling, and it's usually my anniversary of watching a not so great movie and draft day. I still like it for what it's worth, even though it's pretty unbelievable, like what happens in there draft wise. But I still kind of like to watch it a day or two before, just to get in the mood. It's a pretty nice movie in my opinion. So to get on with the first one, we're gonna go with, in round one, I had the Chargers choosing, surprisingly, Drake London fell in this mock draft. So obviously I had to take him. I don't know why he fell. I know there's some reports that this could possibly happen. I kind of see more if he were to get past 10 or 11, the Chargers might move up to get him, something like that. But he is a pretty dynamic wide receiver / tight end. You could use him as in your offense, play down the middle in the slot. It could be very useful for a guy like Justin Herbert. And he caught everything. I'm a USC fan. He caught literally everything this last season, and he only played like 7 or 8 games and was still named the Offensive Player of the Year of the Pac-12. And imagine, he probably would have won the best wide receiver in college football if he would have stayed healthy. But overall, very successful, crazy good season for him. So yeah, definitely pretty nice pick for my LA Chargers here. Then round 3, I have them going with a guy I have them selecting quite a bit here in linebacker from Wyoming, Chad Muma. Once again, a very solid coverage type of linebacker, over 100 plus tackles. Definitely have to like the grit and character of this guy. So I'm happy with this pick. Round 4, went with a cornerback in a different selection than I have been. Went with Mario Goodrich from Clemson. I know he's maybe not the better of the cornerbacks out there. I could be wrong because I know Darion Kendrick was Clemson, but he went to Georgia, so maybe as of right this second, coming out of Clemson, Goodrich is the better cornerback. But to get him in the 4th round, a cornerback like that, of that talent, is pretty solid, especially coming from Clemson, a winning type of school like that. Pretty sure he's the most recent champion there as well. So like that as a 4th round value. Then in round 5, I have them finally going for an offensive tackle from UTSA in Spencer Burford. Didn't really know much about him, but he was the higher ranked player, especially at the offensive tackle position at this time, and they definitely need a good solid tackle to be able to play on that right side to help out Justin Herbert. So we'll see what he can do from a round 5 pick. Round 6, I have him going with a defensive end from Alabama, who I've chosen quite a bit as well, and Christopher Allen. I don't know exactly, I don't remember how good he was. He always get confused with these lower number guys, especially on defense, especially when they play at Alabama, because they're also interchangeable. But obviously, if he's coming from Alabama, he's a pretty solid player. Has a pretty nice build as well for an edge guy. We could probably get him bigger or make him faster. So it's round 6. I like this pick a lot. Another second round 6 pick that they have, I have the Chargers selecting safety Smoke Monday, who's going to most likely be in all these mock drafts just as long as he's available this later in the draft. I know a lot of people maybe project him to go higher, but for some reason in this mock draft network that I'm using, he always gets available around this time. And obviously he's a versatile guy. He's getting a lot of love just because of his size and ability to play up close to the line of scrimmage. You know, he can do all that stuff for you, almost like an X type of linebacker for you. So like this pick in round 6. Round 7, I have them going with a guard to shore up that offensive line for Herbert and Zach Tom. He's from Wake Forest. They've been a lot better the past couple years, Wake Forest has, as a team overall. So as a value pick in the 6th round, I don't mind this at all. So hopefully he can be a solid depth guy for them there. Another round 7 pick, I went with defensive end Jeffrey Gunter from Coastal Carolina. He's a pretty big dude, edge guy. But, you know, I know Coastal Carolina, that doesn't sound like a really good school, but the past couple years they have been winning a lot of games and getting a lot of playing time, especially on ESPN. So they obviously have some talent out there. We'll see if these are one of the talented guys that they could steal late in the draft. Round 7, finally went with the running back out of Oklahoma and Kennedy Brooks. Surprised he lasted this long. I know he did pretty well when it was like, I think it was not this season, but the last season at Oklahoma and at the NFL Draft Combine. He was pretty solid, and you could see just by his size with that speed that he was showing, he could be a pretty good running back. So hopefully this is a good, solid, safe pick in round 7. Then the last round 7 pick went with another offensive player in wide receiver, Khalil Pimpleton from Central Michigan. Once again, a little bit surprised he lasted this long because he is considered one of the faster guys out there. I think one of the games this year he did have like a 3 touchdown game. I think that's the only reason why I remember the name, but he is a smaller slot wide receiver type of player. So to get a pretty good solid guy like that, especially when you already picked Drake London in the first round, I think they could be interchangeable. He could be used on, sweeps and all this stuff. Pimpleton because of his speed. So overall, I think that's a pretty solid pick to end this draft. Not that much, pretty good solid. I try to even out the offense and defense on most of these drafts. So hopefully that helps out. So that is the Drake London first round pick draft for the Chargers, the mock draft. And now we're gonna go with something I don't usually do. I think I maybe did this once other than this time, where I've actually made a trade for the Chargers, but this was a pretty solid trade, even though I threw in a little bit more to make it seem more plausible, because the trade indicator said it was still good even if I traded 1 pick for 2 picks from the other team, which I wasn't happy with, so I just threw in a 7th round pick in there. But I had the Chargers trading with the Packers, and because the Packers have 2 first round picks now. But overall, the LA Chargers are getting in round 1 pick number 28 from Green Bay, and round 2 pick number 59. So we get back into the second round where we have no second round pick this year. And then the Packers get the Chargers 17th pick overall in round 1. And I also threw in round 7, our very last pick of the draft, just to sweeten the deal. I don't know why it was already accepting that first and second, but kind of not surprised too, just because I remember the Herbert draft. I know the Chargers went back in to take New England's pick in the first round, later in the first round, and they had to give up a second. I don't know if they had to give up a second and third, but they did, which was kind of surprising. And if the Chargers could do that because they have a better pick than New England did at that time, so to get another thing like that would be good. But I kind of like the first and second here from the Packers. Pretty nice selecting spots. So with that being said, round 1, I have the Chargers selecting late in the first round safety Daxton Hill from Michigan. After hearing more Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, ESPN guys, talk about him and seeing more highlights and stats on him, I kind of really liked him a lot. He is a smaller, almost athletic version of a Derwin James. So to be able to have guys like that who can play safety, corner, linebacker, up on the line of scrimmage, be very versatile for your defense, and obviously that's what Brandon Staley likes, to have very versatile defensive backs. So overall, this was a pretty awesome pick in the first round, especially this late in the first round, in my opinion. Round 2, which I have not been selecting, but there were a lot of good guys available, but I figured might as well just shore up the offensive tackle spot. Went with Daniel Falele from the University of Minnesota University. I don't know which one it is, but he is a gigantic human being. I forget if he's 6'7" or 6'9", one of those, and he is playing mostly on the right spot from the pictures and highlights I saw. So it's obviously a space that the Chargers need the offensive tackle the most, but I am a little bit worried about that size, which is why he's dropping into the second and third round, I'm sure. But maybe he just needs a guard for like 5 to 6 seconds enough, and should be good enough value pick in round 2. But we'll see. And once again, round 3 had the Chargers going with linebacker Chad Muma from Wyoming. You already know why I like him. One of the better guys out there and was the better linebacker available at this point of the draft. Then when it comes to round 4, I have them going with another need spot in cornerback in Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska. I know he's kind of jumped up a little bit the past couple months. Didn't really show much, I guess, during the season because he didn't flash that much. But after people were evaluating him, a lot of people like him throughout the league. So I'm kind of surprised he was available in round 4. He might not be in the real draft, but this is a pretty solid pick in this mock draft for the LA Chargers. Then round 5, another very good value pick in my opinion. I have him going with the running back from Cincinnati and Jerome Ford. He is a lot smaller back. I think he's only like 5'9" maybe, but he was very successful and did a lot of good stats for this year for Cincinnati. In the past couple of years, he was a transfer from Alabama, so you know he had some talent, but he did play very well for Cincinnati. That's why they had such a good record the past 2 years, along with having Desmond Ridder, of course. But he went off on some games. Did Ford? He had like 2 touchdown games, 3 touchdown games, over 100 plus yards, close to 200. So this is definitely a great backup for Austin Eckler, in my opinion. Round 6, finally went with the tight end from Maryland. This is the first time I'm saying his name. I haven't heard it been said yet, but Chigozium Okonkwo. He's apparently one of the more athletic tight ends you could get late in the draft, and he was available there in the 6th round, as I mentioned. So not a bad get, especially when you need a little bit more athleticism and youth at that position for the Chargers. Round 6, having going with a defensive lineman from Houston, David Ania. And once again, I'm saying this name for the first time. I haven't heard it said out loud, but David Ania, something like that. I know Houston has been putting out a lot of good, solid defensive linemen. I think it was this year or last year, Patrick Turner, something like that. He was selected pretty high from there. So they always have at least one guy selected. I know Ed Oliver was the top 10 guy who went to Buffalo a couple years back, but maybe he could be a good value pick here in the 6th round. Round 7, to start off, I have them going with a guard from BYU and James Empey. I did find out he is more of a center, but maybe they list him as guard because he could play both, which would be nice for them. I know he was considered like a finalist and on the watch list for like the best lineman in college football, and also like a good good person in the community and does a lot of good community service stuff. So he was a finalist for getting an award for something like that as well of college football. So once again, another good guy to have on your team to get like that Walter Payton Man of the Year award while he's right in the bench for a bit until he's a starter. It's a pretty good pick from BYU. Round 7, I have them picking a wide receiver from Northern Iowa, I believe, in Isaiah Weston. I know he has some good size, 6'4". I forget if he was considered a fast one. I forget which one it was, but yes. So I did look at his stats. They're pretty good. They're not great, but they're pretty good for going from a Division II type of player right here. But the size is what I like, and I think he did run kind of well in the combine. So not a bad round 7 pick. And then to finish off this draft, I have them going with a cornerback from Arkansas and Monteric Brown. Looked up a couple of his stats, had a couple interceptions every year. Really good tackler as well. To play up on the line of scrimmage if you need him to go sack the quarterback or stop a running back as well. So a pretty good guy. Obviously comes from the SEC, so they play very tough out there. And Arkansas has been a lot better the past couple seasons. They've had a couple good players here and there, but especially their defense has made them really good this last season. So hopefully this is one of the diamonds in the rough you get on the very last pick of the draft in round 7. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. I know these mock drafts could be a little bit long, but thank you for watching. And yeah, have a couple weeks leading up to the draft. See who else the Chargers can get in the first round. Hopefully y'all like them, because I know I did. At least the way a lot of the drafts ended up going. So yeah, I'll see you all again. And yes, go Chargers.